Hello, everybody. Welcome to WTF, Wholesome Twin Flame Coaching. My name is Dr. Ronja, and usually I am co-hosting this show with Jason, Earth Shadow Dancer. However, he has decided to no longer co-host with me because he has come to the conclusion that he no longer believes in twin flames, which will accordingly be our topic for today. What does it actually mean to believe in twin flames? Is it a phenomenon that just simply exists, even though you cannot necessarily see it, such as gravity? It does exist. You don't have to see it to believe it. You know it's there because you feel it all the time. Or is it more one of those really ephemeral concepts like so many faiths have, that you just have to believe in a deity, in a missionary, in a Messiah like Jesus Christ, for instance? You just have to believe that it's all true and live your life accordingly. Is it something like that? So what is this twin flame thing, and can you actually believe in it or not? Well, I think a good example would be to just relate a little story of what I experienced yesterday with a friend of mine, actually. We're doing a mutual healing session, which I often do with fellow coaches. We were, I don't even know how we got to that point. We weren't arguing. There was just a discrepancy in description on how to do something, on how to get rid of a particular energy. And he actually told me that, well, we have to imagine it as an astral body that is in my space, and we have to send it to the light in order for it to disappear and no longer bother me with whatever issues that astral body is bringing into my life, into my reality, like their feelings or their thoughts, which can be very disturbing, which then, I would have assumed as my own, not knowing any better that there was actually somebody there that has nothing to do with me. So he imagined this energy as a astral body which was in my space. Not exactly like a possession, but an energy left over from somebody else. It could be from a past life or even a parallel life, or even this life, doesn't really matter. And he wanted to know if I had actually sent that person into the light now, so that the whole issue is dissolved. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really make sense to me when this person is still alive that I would have their astral body in my space. And he said, yeah, that is weird. And then it occurred to me that it's really, we're just talking about energy, right? Since everything is energy, it doesn't matter if he imagines it as an astral body that's in my space, kind of like another person occupying my space with their thoughts and feelings and influencing my own that way, or if I imagine it just like an energy that is not mine, that I have somehow attracted in order to clear it. And I can give it any shape and form that I choose, whether it's a color or a blob of energy, excuse me, that I can then send into the light or dissolve in any other way by shining love and light on it, healing energy. Really, it's all the same thing. And then it occurred to me that it doesn't matter how we interpret what's going on. It is just energy that is being shifted around, that is being healed, that is being raised in its vibration towards love and light. And if it's just a matter of perception, because in the end it's all just one mass of energy, then it occurs to me that this whole issue of I don't believe in twin flames, I don't know what to believe, yes, no, it's more a matter of what you can translate. It seems like there's many different interpretations of this whole concept as there are minds. If one particular interpretation makes sense to you, that is your interpretation. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. If another interpretation makes sense to you, perfect. So one way that I found out that twin flames are real is because once I've learned about the concept, let me sidetrack here. I don't usually learn about new things unless I need to learn about them. So things come into my life depending on whether they're important for me to recognize and learn about at that particular time, right? So I just started reading about twin flames. It's not like I read about them and was intrigued and said, oh, I wish I'd found my twin flame. No, just in my spiritual evolution, in my learning that I constantly do. I read, I listen to other people's podcasts, I interact with other coaches and have exchanges. I learn about things. So once I met my twin flame, I was like, wow, this could possibly be a twin flame. I wonder. So I wasn't actually looking. I was not ready at the time for any relationship or anything. So I wasn't yearning for soulmate, which is very often confused with a twin flame anyway. But since I knew about the concept and I had encountered that person, I then did what I always do. I went within. I connected with spirit. And I was given the information that made sense to me as a person, in my space, in my time-space reality, that I had indeed met my twin flame. So I felt it and I knew it by looking within. This is why somebody else cannot necessarily tell you, yes, this is your twin flame or this is not your twin flame. They may or may not be able to tell you, but really so much depends on your own personal lens. What makes sense to you? Is that interpretation that the other person may have valid for you? So there's no point of me telling another person, yes, I believe they're your twin flame according to my consultation with spirit and the information that I got, when they're not ready to believe in that concept. Belief is a choice. Depending on whether you accept the premises that make sense for your own life. So really what I recommend everybody do is just really go into deep meditation and have a conversation with God, the divine spirit, and ask questions and then get your answers. If you're so inclined, you can use a pendulum. Let me try and find mine. Hold on. It's my beautiful malachite. Not a malachite, what is it? I keep forgetting my beautiful stone. Anywho, this is my pendulum. So this is what I use to divine. You can use kinesiology, which you're probably familiar with, which is your body, which you can use like a pendulum. It's pretty much the same concept, really, to get yes or no answers, because deep down inside your body knows, because your body is always connected to the divine, no matter what your brain tries to override. And then the old, rather crude methods of holding out your arm and somebody pushing it down, and if it holds strong, it is a yes, and if it goes weak, it's a no. Obviously, you need two people for that. It's cumbersome. You can use your thumb and first finger, make a circle, try and keep it together. Not with a whole lot of strength, but it doesn't take much strength to actually keep them together. Anyway, ask a question. Am I Ronja Wies? It holds strong. Am I Cameron Diaz? It does not hold strong. I can just, no matter how much I try to hold it strong, am I Cameron Diaz? It will open. I'm not Cameron Diaz. I'm Ronja Wies, clearly. So that's another way. And with a lot of practice, after having used my pendulum a lot, right? I mean, I started doing these things and learning about healing and whatnot when I was a teenager. And now I use this constantly for my Akashic field therapy, obviously, still. But when I divine for myself, I can use my body actually as a pendulum. And I know a lot of other intuitive coaches, spiritual healers do the same. And how that works is that, again, you ask closed questions, which means the questions can be answered with a yes or no. And if I get a yes, my body moves forward. If I get a no, my body moves to the side. And you can just, double test accordingly and ask a negative question and see if it's negated, then it's a yes. So let's see. Am I Ronja Wieth? Yes. Moving forward. Am I Cameron Diaz? No. Moving to the side. Am I not Cameron Diaz? That is correct. I am not Cameron Diaz. So my body moved forward to indicate a yes. So this is something you can practice. Which, by the way, on a side note, also comes in very handy when you're cooking. And you need to know, there's some other spice that just should go in there. You just can't think of it, and you just go through your spice rack and go, yes, no, yes, no. It's quite fun. This is an easy way to practice that without, major consequences. If you put in too much basil, you'll still live, kind of thing. So you can practice that and use your own body. Some people say, especially in regard to theta healing, that you should always face north in order to do that. I haven't really found a difference. I face any direction and do this. In fact, north at the moment here in my living room is that way. Still works. What is important, however, is to be hydrated. Your body needs to be hydrated. Otherwise, the circuits get wonky somehow, and I'm not sure why, but everybody will tell you that in order to have proper kinesiology work, you have to be hydrated. So apparently you can trick your body into hydrating by just drinking 1 glass of water. So if you don't have time to, make up a whole day of not properly hydrating because you're too busy or whatever, at least drink 1 glass of water and let it sink in for like half an hour or so, and then do this kind of questioning. Another good way, of course, is to go into meditation and just really have a heart-to-heart with the divine and ask, is this person my twin flame, and get an answer. And then, use that time to sit with it and see, what am I supposed to do with this? And just because somebody's your twin flame does not necessarily mean that you have to stick together with them. They're supposed to be a very, very intense mirror. What you learn at any given point in time, they learn. What they feel at any given point in time, you feel. That can make it very, very tumultuous and strenuous. And in order to practice good self-care, and Jason and I have talked about that before, you have to make sure that you have boundaries, that you can say, okay, I cannot deal with this at the moment. This is too much. I cannot deal with your stuff as well, even though I know it's my stuff, because just dealing with my stuff in my life and my time-space reality is exhausting enough. So it's okay to take a safe space. It's actually necessary to take that safe space and that safe time and time out. But what is so lovely about twin flame relationships, though, is that it's very, very rare that we grow completely mean to each other. If so, it's from a place of deep hurt, but we immediately regret it. We cannot but feel love for our twin flame. And this is what differentiates it from other relationships that may only be there to teach you how to love yourself more, how to create boundaries, and really, know what you want and what you don't want, and how to find out what you want and what you don't want. I think it was our last session last Monday where we commented on somebody's podcast who had summarized another speaker who's a big one on love, and who had a section on twin flames, who supposedly claimed that once a relationship grows abusive, that twin flame connection is done, that soul contract is cancelled, and you can move on. And again, it doesn't make sense to me. You can move on to your next one. That's really when I started listening. I was like, wait, how can you move on to your next twin flame? There's only 2. Twin. That is the genealogy of the word, 2. So you might move on to another relationship, but you will not move on to another twin flame relationship. Then, if a relationship grows abusive, it's time to take time to yourself, but it has nothing to do with the soul contract and then moving on. This might be the case for all sorts of relationships, but not for twin flame relationships, because they will not actually grow abusive in that particular sense, where somebody would be stuck in a narcissistic relationship, for instance, or physically, mentally, verbally abusive relationship for a long, long time. Because another characteristic of a twin flame relationship is that one of the partners is usually a bit more advanced spiritually. And that's not a judgment, that's just to say they're more aware of the mechanics of what's really going on, right? So I'm not saying that one of them is not spiritual, the other one is, or one's more holy than the other one. Far from it. I'm just saying one of them understands the mechanics more, might have even heard about twin flame relationships, whereas the other one has their own spiritual system, but things that we would call new agey, like twin flame relationships or spiritual evolution, things like that, vibration, those things are just foreign to them and new. So that's what I mean by that. So once the relationship gets so tumultuous that there might be some abuse because you are lashing out, the person who's and again, I don't mean it in a judgmental way, I'm just trying to use it for clarification, who's on a higher or different spiritual understanding will then pull the brake and say, okay, this is enough, this is not good, this is not healthy. And so that might the other one, just not knowing why, really, and just, try to do the 3D and just walk out and say, this is just not working, I'm out of here. But then find themselves being pulled back, just like this, more spiritual one, and again, no judgment, would then see, okay, this is not good, we need to pull out, but we're just pulling to a different realm. So in my experience, real twin flame relationships, they will never really completely break contact. You're always connected. You're so aware of this connection that no matter what it really looks like in 3D, whether you actually move away from each other for a while or not, you're so very connected and you're very aware of that twin flame relationship. And all these predictions that people want of whether twin flame relationships actually stay together or not, I think this is just our personal desire to be with a partner for the rest of our lives, which is quite natural and which is a wonderful thing. However, in a twin flame relationship, we're supposed to learn from each other and we'll always be connected. Whether our lives will turn out to be lived together or separate depends on so many other factors that we cannot necessarily influence at all times. Each twin flame has their own spatial realm and reality, and other people in that reality that they will also have contracts with, or karma to resolve, or experiences to have with and learning to do with, that may or may not fit the twin flame relationship dynamic and trajectory. If those people were more supportive, as in they were doing their own work and thereby allowing that twin flame to progress in the spiritual evolution as at the same pace as the other twin flame, then things would be much smoother. But we don't know that. So it may or may not happen, but that's okay. As long as we cannot really help but to evolve. I was about to say as long as we evolve, but that's silly because we cannot but evolve. We are always constantly expanding with every experience, with every thought and vibration that we send out, we create. And that cannot be helped. We just have to pay attention to what we want to create. If we want to create a relationship that moves on the same trajectory, on the same path, and has a life path that, is spent in a union, then both of those components, both twin flames, need to work on that. One cannot just suddenly pull out, do their own thing, and expect the other twin flame to simply still be there. It doesn't work. They might wait around for a little while. They will probably continue working on their own stuff. But if realms move away too far, it might be difficult to come back in that particular constellation. It might be a different constellation. It might be friends. Just might be acquaintances. You will still be connected and might get back together in a different life. But again, if you want to create a reality with somebody, that somebody will have to also want to create that reality with you. That's just the way it is. So I hope that clarified a little bit more about twin flame relationships and whether you should believe in them or not. Just like any religion is a belief system that you can choose. Well, religions very much have dogma attached to them. That's why it's not a perfect example to compare it with. But what I'm trying to say is it's a system of interpretation. It's just trying to put things into words, into concepts that humans can understand, that resonates with the individual, and every individual resonates differently. And if you happen to struggle to find out, I don't even know if I believe in this, I don't want to believe in this, I want to believe in this because I want a partner, I do not want to believe in this because this is too strenuous. If it helps you to make a decision whether you believe or not, then do make a decision by going within and finding the truth. Finding the truth. And then even if you decide, yes, it is true, or even if you decide it is not true, what happens after that has nothing to do with that belief. And this is, I think, where most people go wrong. When there's trouble arising, it's like, well, this can't be right, it has to be like this. Who says, by the way, it has to be anything like anything? If it were a twin flame, then this. If it were not a twin flame, then that. It's like, well, don't you think you're making it a bit too complicated there? Just like any relationship, it can go any which way. But knowing deep down inside whether somebody's a twin flame or not is a beautiful thing. However, vacillating between, well, there's just way too much crap going on and I don't even know if I believe this anymore, that I don't feel is helping. I personally don't feel rattled in my beliefs. If I have come to my beliefs from going deep down inside and communicating with the divine and simply knowing. And then whatever happens, happens. I might not understand everything that happens. Oh, goodness, there's plenty I don't understand that happens. Of course, it's not necessarily ours to understand. However, I still believe certain things are true because they feel true and I know them to be true whenever I go deep inside, whenever I communicate with the divine. And that's a difference. I don't want to be shaken in my belief and just say, well, I don't even believe this crap on twin flames anymore, just because something doesn't work out the way I want it to. I believe it because for me, in my communication, this is what I've felt, this is what I've been told, this is what I've been made to know. And that is it. And all I suggest is that you do the same. Nobody cares whether you believe in twin flames or not. You won't hurt anybody if you decide one way or the other. Really, it doesn't matter. It only matters to you. So it's like any other belief that you have about yourself. Do you believe you're worthy? Do you believe you have a place on this planet? Do you believe that there's a twin flame that you're deeply connected with? No matter what the outside world might throw at you at the moment in regards to that relationship, and which might look really painful and crappy or whatever. Find out for yourself. This is a time of self-responsibility in a way that we've never experienced before. Any kind of person who runs around saying, well, this is true and you better believe it, those times are over. They were valuable and valid at their time to help people on their way. At this point in time, we are wakening up to our own divinity. We need to find a way to communicate with our own divine and find out what is true for us. And then, frankly, to not give a damn what other people think may or may not be true. And this is, I believe, what we are being called to do. This is how we live our life, to really go within, to know from inside what's right or not, what to believe or not, and then live that truth. And I think this is really the safest way to go about life anyway. Because I don't want to be swayed by one person who says one thing is true and then I move to another country and they say the opposite is true. That doesn't even make any sense. So go inside. Use one of my meditations that I have on YouTube. Just, learn to calm down your mind and your body, to breathe deeply, to connect with your divinity inside of you, that you are. And take the time to just sit, ask, see if your body reacts like, the kinesiology that I explained, and where you can use your body as a pendulum. Or just sit and see if you get what we call sixth sense information. You hear voices and they're just from spirit telling you something. Or, and I might want to get into that in our next show, actually, all the different things that spirit can use to talk to you. As I said, I use a lot of knowing. I just simply suddenly know things. I just know them to be true and it feels a certain way in my body. It's quite interesting because I teach these things in my cosmic energy workshop. I teach people how to become aware of their clairs, their clairvoyance, clairaudience, their knowing, etc. It's clairsentience, quite fun. So yeah, that might be a good topic for next time to talk about. So I invite you to just sit in meditation, use one of my meditations, they're free on YouTube. Dive inside, see if you get an answer. If you don't grow impatient. You might not need to know at this point, or you might have to figure something else out, or you might have to learn to forgive yourself for not knowing. There are so many reasons why you may or may not get an answer. Just trust that everything is all right. Trust that everything is in perfect divine timing. And trust that you can trust your own truth and your own knowing. Okay, so I hope that helped a little bit. I look forward to seeing you again next Monday. Again, if you ever want coaching, you can look at my website. If I have enough interest, I might actually do a live coaching on twin flame relationships, either individually or as a couple. Either one would be fun. So let me know on my Facebook page, EnglobeMe, or as a comment on this video, and then I'll get in touch, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. All right, have a great day. Namaste.